What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. But before we get all into the topic for today, I would love for you to do a few things for me. First of all, hit the subscribe button, as I always say. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I post any videos or any content in general on my channel. And then when you're finished watching this video, I would love for you to do me a favor and go and leave me a comment. That way I can respond back to it when I'm finished with this video. For today's topic, I'm going to be talking about the problem with Black History Month and other Black themed holidays in America. When it comes to Black History Month, the issue is very layered. And I'm going to try to break it down at the highest level possible and then talk about all the other things in between. But I want to give you a good idea of why this and other holidays are problematic. Black History Month, as you know, is currently going on because it's February. And it's supposed to be a so-called celebration of all of Black history in America. Now, that's already problematic as a statement alone, for the simple fact that it really doesn't focus solely on Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, that is. If you ever look at any banner or anything that you see when events are being advertised for Black History Month or people are making posts about it, you always see the colors red, green, and black, or you see red, green, and yellow, or some variation of what I had just said. It's either red, green, and yellow, red, green, and black, or red, green, black, and yellow. It's always a variation of those colors. The problem that I have with this is that almost makes Black History Month seem like somewhat of a Pan-Africanist celebration, when in reality it should be a Black American, a foundational Black American celebration, and it's not. So if it was an appropriate foundational Black American celebration, it would be one of two color combinations. It would either be black, red, and yellow, or red, blue, and white. Those are the only two colors that I could actually see being advertised. But because it's conflated into being a one big Negro type of thing, that's why it ends up being the way that it is, and we end up celebrating all Black people. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that our brothers and sisters from the diaspora should have some form of recognition, but I don't think that it should be conflated with Black American holidays, because the way that I see it is Black Americans, foundational Black Americans that is, built this country. And so for us to only have 1 month where we're being celebrated is absolutely absurd. But at the same time, I also look at it from another stance, which is that these are things that are really given to Black people, not things that we have really built ourselves or made for ourselves. It's kind of like Juneteenth. I know a lot of y'all are going to criticize me for that, but just follow me and let me finish my statement before you start trying to hit the dislike button as I say this. The problem that I have with holidays like Juneteenth, like just Black History Month as a whole, and I have with things like Martin Luther King Day, is that they all have the same issue, which is that they're symbolic. They are symbolic gestures. They're not anything tangible, and they make people feel good that we've been celebrated. But the idea of that being a thing shows that they're trying to make it seem like we are not really from America, that this is a land that white people have built and that white people are originally from, and we were just sent from a boat to Africa over to here, when that's not what happened. We're foundational Black Americans, so we're actually from this land. That doesn't mean that we don't have African DNA. What it means is that we actually are from here. So to say that we are almost visitors and to treat us in that way with the holidays is actually disingenuous and not true to history, because we've always been a part of this nation. As a matter of fact, we've been the builders of this nation. So for me to sit there and act like this is something that's a genuine gesture, it would just not be real. It just really wouldn't. So I think my problem when it comes down to the whole Black History Month thing, that I think a lot of people aren't seeing, is that it's a symbolic nothing burger. And for the most part, the only thing that we can really even get, and two things I'll even say, from the idea of celebrating Black History Month or other Black holidays, that is is one, the ability for us to be able to sell things that are able to have us profit from a holiday that was really meant for us. That's the first positive that we can get from celebrating Black History Month. So we can create t-shirts, we can create other materials, other paraphernalia, other things. We can throw events and things like that that foundational Black Americans specifically can benefit from. But when it comes to the whole idea of it being something that was made by us, that's just not a reality. Martin Luther King Day, there's a reason why he is celebrated. He's celebrated for him talking about all men and women should be created equal, not for him being pro-Black and a lot of the stuff that he said, of course, in his later years. And then with Juneteenth, of course, that was something that was given to us. That was the emancipation of slaves. So the point I'm trying to make is that you have all these different holidays that are really symbolic gestures more than anything. And the second thing I want to talk about too, second thing, I didn't want to get off topic here. The second reason why I do feel like there's a positive that can come from all this is because we have to have some form of culture as foundational Black Americans, as Dr. Claude Anderson has said many times in a lot of his speeches. So a lot of times we do try to tack on to Black History Month, and we try to tack on to Martin Luther King Day and Juneteenth and things like that, because if not, we would not have anything that is celebratory that reminds us of how powerful and phenomenal some of our foundational Black American ancestors and people who accomplished things really were. So I think that it's important for us to still do something on these holidays that could maybe profit us or maybe benefit us because of the marketing behind it. But what I don't get with is the idea that this one is enough for Black people to just be quiet and to never talk about what has happened with slavery and to never talk about how we need reparations for slavery to truly benefit our people, truly benefit foundational Black Americans. And I really don't like how this is a thing where we have to try to pretend like having 1 month is actually acceptable for everything that our ancestors actually went through. So for me, just looking on the outside, just looking at all these other months where Black history is not really talked about or discussed or anything like that, I'm thinking, well, if February is the only month that is relegated to foundational Black Americans, or really as they try to make it seem like all Black people, what about all those other months? To me, this is the way I see it, is those are supposed to be all white months. All white history months are literally every other month outside of February. And let's be honest, there's not really too much that happens for Black people on Black History Month or throughout Black History Month outside of it being talked about. There's no days off of work if you're working, because let's be honest, most FBAs are probably working. You know, you have no tangibles, no benefits that are really given. There's no discounts that are given at stores or anything like that. And all I'm saying to you all is that the problem here is to act like this is supposed to be some type of homage to us when you all won't even pay reparations at the highest level is really just disingenuous. So I really don't get with this whole Black History Month trend for the simple fact that it's something that makes people feel good that they have paid some type of honor to the foundational Black Americans that used to be here, but you still disrespect the ones that are currently here and are speaking up and are trying to do things that are positive and are trying to do things that are constructive. As a matter of fact, we're demonized if we do speak up for ourselves and we talk about the things that we do need. So that's really my problem with both those things at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other foundational Black Americans who feel me on this. So that's what it is. Anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a lot more to say down the line about other topics. I'll make sure I talk to y'all later and we'll go from there.